Story of As It Was by Harry Styles. The wind echoed through the empty, abandoned platform of an old train station. Harry was returning to this small town for the first time in years. Once, the streets of this town had been filled with laughter, dreams, and the scent of unforgettable summer nights. But now, everything was quiet. The suitcase in his hand felt like the only weight he carried from his past. As the train pulled away, the silence became deafening. Harry took a few hesitant steps and stopped. He pulled out his phone but realized there was no one to call. "Why am I even here?" he muttered to himself. The reason for his return had started with a single message, brief and cold, from his father. "You need to come back." He didn't know what lay behind those words, but he couldn't ignore the call. As he walked toward the town center, everything looked the same, yet felt completely different. The shop signs were still there, but the lights inside no longer felt warm. At the end of the road stood the house where he'd grown up. The windows were dusty, the garden overrun with weeds. He knocked on the door, but no one answered. Inside, the house was filled only with his father's belongings. On the table in the living room, there was an open letter. A few lines were scrawled on the page. "Harry, loneliness grows heavier with time. I want to see you, but know this: things will never be the same as they were." As Harry read the letter, his eyes welled up. He'd always wondered why his father had been so distant, why their bond had unraveled over the years. But the letter offered no answers, only a lingering emptiness. His father wasn't there, but where had he gone? His phone rang, startling him. The number was familiar, though he couldn't place it. When he answered, an old friend's voice came through. "Harry, I heard you're back in town. I'd love to see you. I also heard your dad's still sitting at that old lookout, staring at the stars. Maybe you'll find him there." Harry's feet felt heavy as he made his way to the hill, a spot overlooking the town that had been his father's favorite. When he arrived, he found his father sitting there, holding an old lantern and gazing at the stars. "Harry," his father said, turning his head. "I know it's been a long time, but some things never change. Family, love, regret, and those moments when it feels like it's just us in this world." Harry sat down beside his father. There was a long silence, but it didn't scare him. Words weren't necessary. The past couldn't be undone, but they could begin again. That night, Harry looked at the most meaningful stars he'd ever seen, and he realized that even though nothing was the same as it once was, some things could still be rebuilt.